Hello everybody, welcome to a video about the post-grad experience, whether that's post-grad depression, post-grad existential crisis, or just figuring out your new life post-college graduation. A little bit of context to who I am. My name is Sarah. I am 24 years old. I graduated college in 2019 from the University of Michigan. I majored in mechanical engineering, minored in computer science and entrepreneurship. I graduated in May 2019, and then a few months later in August 2019, I started my first full-time job at Microsoft, where I am a hardware manufacturing engineer. I struggled a lot my first year out of college. I had what I thought was my dream life. I wanted two things. I wanted to move across the country to either Seattle or San Francisco. I moved to Seattle. Check. Number two, I wanted an engineering job in tech, so I got a job at Microsoft. But then I got here, I got to Seattle, and I really struggled my first year. I was overtaken by, one, this fear of becoming average. I hated the idea of becoming another corporate rat that just worked a 9 to 5 every single day and was only living for the weekends. So I had this huge fear of becoming an average person, which we will dive into. I also really struggled to figure out what my identity was because my identity was largely rooted in a lot of things that no longer existed after college. I had an identity as a student, as a triathlete because I was on the triathlon team at college, as someone who worked on mechanical product ideas because I was heavily involved in the product design startup space in college. I just felt an overall existential crisis. Like, what is the meaning of life? What is my new purpose? I didn't know what I was living for. And it's like I worked so hard and I felt like this thing that I had worked so hard for was not what I expected. And I felt a little hopeless and I felt very stuck. I was in this phase for probably about a year. And now it's been about 2 years later. I want to share everything that I've learned that helped me understand these feelings and what helped me figure out some of the questions that I had in hopes of helping any one of you that is watching this video going through a similar thing. I've got my green tea. Let's get into these post-grad lessons learned. This is what I felt like coming out of college and into the adult world. And the best metaphor I can think of is that all throughout school, you're on this like guided hike up a mountain and you have a guide that's leading you. You're with a whole group of people that are hiking together. You know that everyone is working to get to the top of the mountain, especially as you enter college, your major, everyone kind of has similar goals. So eventually, after this really tough hike where you would hike for a stint of time, rest for a stint of time, hike really hard for a stint of time, and rest again, you finally make it to the peak. And it's all very exciting because this is what you've been working towards for first 21 years of your life or so. And then from this point on, the guide turns to you and goes, okay, I've taught you everything that you need to know. Now you all need to go off on your own. So everyone starts running off in different directions. So everyone that you climb this mountain with is heading in a different direction than you. You start running and next thing you know, you're in this like cornfield or field with really tall grass. You don't have any visibility as to what's in front of you and behind you besides this tall grass that's in front of you. And eventually this starts to become very lonely and this becomes very tough because going from left to right feels like it makes no difference. You don't have your support network with you anymore. You are all alone in this giant field and you're just kind of finding your way and you don't even know where the end goal is anymore. At least when you were on that really hard hike, you knew the goal was to get to the top and that there would be a reward. But now you're in this field and you're running and it's tiring to be running and you don't know which direction you're going and you don't know what you're heading towards or if you're just gonna be alone walking this giant field for the rest of your life. The first lesson I had to learn was from my therapist. So I started therapy in this post-grad crisis mode that I was in and I was really freaking out about the fear of becoming average. I was freaking out that, I had worked so hard in college to excel and to be accepted by these companies to get a job, and then all of a sudden I got a job and I felt very average. I felt like another corporate rat that was going to work in a cubicle from 9 to 5 for the rest of her life. This honestly attacked my identity because I rooted a lot of my identity in being a student, in good grades, in excelling in school, in the communities I was a part of in school, and then as soon as I graduated college and moved to this adult working world, all of that is stripped from my identity. All of it goes away at once. All you are left with is this job. Or for some of us who do not have jobs lined up, there isn't even that. So I started freaking out because I felt the need to do something spectacular, like to live my life to the fullest, whether it was become a digital nomad and travel across the world or start my business at a very young age. But then my therapist said something that was very impactful. She said that there is growth instability. And what she meant by this is that in college, especially those who were working really hard in college and in school, it was a very unstable environment, and a lot of the times you were fueled by stress, whether it was cramming for exams, pulling up all-nighters to finish your assignments, and you were fueled by this lack of stability. And in college, you also grow a lot. You learn a lot. You kind of associate this unstable environment with growth. But my therapist kind of brought to light that there is even better growth when you are growing out of a stable place. I think a lot of my fear of becoming average was rooted in the fact that I felt like I was no longer growing. It is very, very uncomfortable switching from an unstable environment to a stable environment. Your brain starts to panic. Your brain starts to look for things to mimic the level of stress that you used to feel. So no, you are not an average person for working a 9 to 5. Actually, now your 9 to 5 empowers you to have a stable income and financial stability to grow out of a stable place. Now you have this stable environment to figure out what you like to do what you're passionate about, and so on. A quick moment for the sponsor of this video who helped make this video possible, BetterHelp. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Is there something that's interfering with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? I personally found BetterHelp very helpful during my post-grad crisis moment because on BetterHelp you are able to select preferences for what kind of therapy you are looking for, and one of the choices is life coaching, which I found really helpful in my post-grad transition phase. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating within 48 hours. It's not a crisis line, it's not self-help, it's professional therapy done securely online. There is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network, which may not be locally available in many areas. The service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule a weekly video, so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change therapists if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit betterhelp.com/swang, that's better HELP, and join the over 2 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. BetterHelp gave a special offer to my viewers. Get 10% your first month at betterhelp.com/swang. Thank you, BetterHelp, again for sponsoring this video. If you're all interested, please check the link below. Now let's talk about that first full-time job that you're getting. One of the most helpful things I learned about the full-time working world is that it takes at least 1 year to get good at any job. I think I started panicking around month 4 when I felt like I still didn't know anything, and I wish I had known that it takes anyone at least a year to get good at any job, and especially if it's your first full-time job out of college. I also felt like my job was perfect on paper. Like when I described my job to people, this is exactly the job that I was dreaming of and hoping for when I was in college. But then when it came to my actual day-to-day work, I felt really unfulfilled and really stressed. And I think a lot of it came from just being a new employee, and especially being a college hire who does not bring any prior industry knowledge. I felt very disposable, and that's not a good feeling. And especially if you combine that with any imposter syndrome, which is very prevalent for my women in STEM. If you're a woman in STEM, you probably work in a predominantly male space, and when you look around you and no one looks like you, that's already sending you a subconscious message that you don't belong. So on top of feeling disposable, a lot of us experience feelings of imposter syndrome. And this made me think that I hated my job, but then I also knew that when I described my job on paper, it's what I really wanted. So I say if this is you, if you're in that current position, give it time, give it at least a year, because with that year, you will start to make friends, build your support network at work. You will start to accumulate knowledge, and knowledge that is unique to you, that makes you feel like you are no longer disposable. Another huge question that was running in my mind during this post-grad transition that I was in was I was questioning what is my purpose and what is my passion. I felt really lost in this department. I think a lot of us are taught that we have to be super passionate about our work and that our work has to align with our purpose. To be straight up, is a whole load of garbage that they are selling you on. Maybe true for some people, but I think what I've learned, I don't want to turn my passion to work. My passion is for me. I don't want to use the energy for my passion for someone else's dream. The energy for my passion and my creativity is for myself. When you turn a passion into a job, it does exactly that. It turns it into a job and into work. I've come to really appreciate the 9 to 5 structure where I can go into my engineering job, use the logical side of my brain, work with my coworkers, get the whole team element, and enjoy the engineering side of things, and then close my laptop, set those strong work-life boundaries, and get to pursue my passions outside of work. Something that really helped me with my relationship with work was starting my YouTube channel. Having another project going on for you that is a big part of your life that is outside of work really helped me with my relationship with work, because now I didn't have such an anxious attachment to my full-time job. For me, I personally love making videos, and so to me this is a very fulfilling and fun activity. Something else I'm really passionate about is just art, so I'm trying to get involved with a few nonprofit organizations in Seattle. I think getting involved in your community in an organization that you're really passionate about is also an amazing thing to do, especially if you are someone that is moving to a new city. It could be a great way to learn about the local community that you are moving to and how you can help that local community. Another tip is to develop a routine, and I'm not talking about waking up super early and having your green juice, going on a long walk, getting your workout in, and journaling. No, to me that has always been kind of a toxic environment to be in. By routine, I mean just something that you set that is reoccurring, that gets you moving towards what you want. So for example, you might make it a goal that once a month you go to a local meetup event in your city and meet new people. You might make it a thing that once a week you document all your accomplishments at your job, so that when it comes around to those quarterly reviews, you have so many accomplishments to pull from and share with your manager about. It might be that you set a goal to take 3 classes this year so that you can try 3 different hobbies or interests and also learn about 3 new things. Create a routine that'll make you happy, a routine where you will enjoy the journey and the actual routine and not just the final product of that routine. Routine also creates that stable environment that is such a great place to grow from. Let's talk about making friends, especially if you are moving to an entirely new city like I did. I moved from Michigan all the way to Seattle, Washington. Once the excitement of moving to a new city and getting your apartment set up fades, it becomes an extremely isolating experience. All of a sudden, everyone that you know is doing their own thing across the country, and you do not have any of the support network that you had before. I graduated college, came into Seattle identifying as an introvert, and I'm going to share a few tips with you that completely changed my mindset on making friends and social activities that makes me now identify as an extrovert. Number 1 is to understand your social capacity. Everyone has a different social capacity, and what I mean by social capacity is how many times do you want to hang out with people during the week. This is especially helpful if you are living alone, to standardize the amount of times you see people throughout the week. I think my ideal amount is 2 to 3 times during the week, and then once per day on the weekend. So I love doing something on Wednesday to break up the week, something fun, and something fun after work on Thursday or Friday. I also like doing something fun on Saturday, or 2 things fun on Saturday, and leaving Sunday completely open as a day to myself to get ready for the next coming week. Number 2 is to create reoccurring things. Planning social events is a whole nother energy consuming task on top of the social activity. So if you can minimize the amount of energy it takes to plan social activities, then you can put more towards the social activities itself. So for example, you might have met a few new people, gather these people, and you start a book club. You all read the same book for the next month and meet once a week at a coffee shop to discuss the book. Maybe you create a group of friends that tries a new restaurant every week and you call it the supper club, like I did with some of my friends. Maybe you make a little golfing group, a volunteering group, anything that's reoccurring where you don't have to continuously put a lot of effort to plan it, and you know that you will see people and get to build your friendship with this group of people. Number 3, friendships build when you consistently see these people. So that's also why creating these reoccurring things help. I think why it was so easy to make friends in high school is that every day you saw those people, and why a lot of people make friends at work is because you see these people at work every day. So if you're looking for friends, I would just show up to any place consistently, whether it's the dog park, the gym, the library, take a class, and show up to these places consistently, and you will eventually meet other people who also come to these places consistently, and then you will automatically have a shared hobby. And finally, tip number 4 is to lose your filter. I think all of us have parts of our personality that requires effort to maintain. And if that is the only part of your personality that you are showing, it is going to make it extremely taxing and exhausting to interact with people. I definitely had to learn this the hard way. But if this is something you struggle with, definitely practice losing your filter at times. I really like this quote that's something along the lines of, Don't kill the part of yourself that is cringy, kill the part of yourself that cringes. You will say embarrassing things, you will say stupid things, but you don't have to feel stupid or embarrassed about it. This, I'm not gonna tell you to get a dog, but getting a dog really helped me. There's two parts to it. One, the responsibility really nourishes your soul to have not only a companion, but a life that you're responsible for taking care of. Gives me structure in my life, forces me to get out of bed, to get outside. But also the other part is just watching how my dog exists. I've learned so many things. Like, a dog is happy without purpose or passion. They don't need a purpose. They're just here to exist. I think also taking care of my dog helped me learn how to take care of myself. I know I had a weird relationship with food for a little while, but feeding my dog really taught me how to feed myself. Like, I want to feed my dog really healthy things, but I also do want to feed him whipped cream because whipped cream makes him really happy. So it's finding that balance of feeding yourself food that you know will nourish your body, but also food that will make you happy. Something else I learned is that a tired dog is a good dog. Like, if you take a dog on enough walks and enough playtime throughout the day, the dog will cause less trouble. They won't tear up the couch, they won't chew at your shoes, and this is the exact same for a human. A tired human is a good human. Get outside, get your movement in, and when you're tired, you won't overthink as much and you won't spiral into those post-grad overthinking spirals that may happen. When you're tired, you won't text your ex. When you're tired, you won't make as many bad decisions. You'll just be calm. Post-grad can be really, really hard, and if you are in the dumps of the dumps, something that really helps me is Reoccuring Meditations. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. She has a YouTube channel, a TikTok, and her meditations are amazing. They're a combination of a guided meditation with some affirmations. I was an affirmation doubter myself, but I've been converted into the affirmation world, and I think what really helps is listening to these affirmations first thing in the morning. That's when your brain still has theta waves, and that is when you are the most receptive to these affirmations. So I would listen to these affirmations either first thing in the morning or last thing at night before you go to bed. That's also when your brain enters that theta wave mode. I really like this quote that I saw from this article on the Washington Post. It read, "Post-grad depression is underreported because graduation is like motherhood, culturally seen as a seemingly joyful time, which makes it even more shameful for someone to admit that it's not," says Fraga, who counsels students during a fellowship at the University of California at Berkeley, who now treats young adults in her practice. I really like this quote because I think it describes perfectly how unexpected this post-grad crisis or depression feeling can be. I never knew about it. I think it's becoming a little better known now that the 20s overall is just a confusing time, and especially this post-grad time. But if you're going through that right now, I want you to know that it is a completely universal experience. Even though culturally, post-grad is known as this amazing, exciting time. Talking to my friends, we all have gone through this post-grad crisis, questioning what our passion, our purpose is, and trying to figure out who we are in this new environment, feeling disposable at work, and just feeling lost. My last and final tip, and this is my favorite tip, is to take fun classes outside of work. I took a pottery class, I took a poetry class, and the great things about these classes is that you are going to a place consistently, so you'll make friends because you see them on a regular basis. You are meeting people who are into the same thing as you, which they might introduce you to someone else. They might show you cool places in Seattle that also aligns with your interests. And you're also developing a skill. You feel like you are growing, which you can feel a little stagnant starting your first job because learning is very slow in the corporate world, at least. So taking a class was really helpful for me in my mental health to feel like I was still growing and moving forward in life rather than feeling stagnant and stuck. Also, the more things you have outside of work, the more interesting things you have to talk about with your coworkers, so it makes those interactions at work more exciting and interesting as well, and not just about work. I think in this post-grad era, I've kind of become a new person than who I was in college. My personal values have changed a lot, even some of my morals. And I'm very excited to be living this stable 9-to-5 life, building a community for myself in Seattle, getting involved in the Seattle community. I'm in the same job as I was when I first graduated college, and I went from thinking I hated this job to loving this job. I mean, I wouldn't say loving as in like I wake up every morning and the first thing I want to do is manufacturing engineering, but I'm very happy that this is my full-time job. I'm gonna enjoy it until I get tired of it, and when I get tired of it, I will find something else for myself. I really hope some of these tips were helpful. If they were, please let me know in the comments which ones you think will apply to you. Also, always take advice with a grain of salt. All of these lessons I learned were unique to my experience, my background, or also if you have any post-grad crisis advice, please leave it in the comments below as well. Thank you all for your time, for watching, and until next time, bye!